For 2017, Chevrolet is bringing back the ZR2 off-road package on the midsize Colorado you see behind me. What that means is this Colorado midsize pickup gets wider, it gets a lift, and it gets all sorts of specialized off-road equipment. It's also a historic submodel because in the mid-90s, Chevy produced an S10 and S10 Blazer with a ZR2 package. It was similar. It was wider, it was taller, it had off-road tires. We're gonna check this thing out on-road and off-road and see how it stacks up to its legendary predecessor. This particular Chevy ZR2 features the 2.8-liter inline four-cylinder turbo diesel engine. It makes 186 horsepower and a rather astonishing 369 pound-feet of torque. And it has a 21-gallon fuel tank and gets about 23 miles per gallon on the freeway. So what that means is range. This truck gets great range. So if you like overlanding and are concerned about places to find fuel or how long you can go between refueling, this is going to be the one to get. You probably already know all about the MULTIMATIC DSSV spool valve shocks on this thing. They're super fancy, long travel suspension, and the idea is to get on-road comfort without sacrificing off-road travel and articulation. We're going over a pretty irregular surface right now, jumbled rocks, it's sort of bouncing the truck around. It's showing how this suspension handles terrain like this. It seems like this is a little stiffer than its competitors. It's not uncomfortable, but you definitely can feel every rock and pebble that you're moving over. Chevy says this is an all-new chassis unique to the ZR2. It's still a fully boxed frame. It's really similar to the standard Colorado, except they've moved some of the suspension mounting points around a bit and they've reinforced, for example, the front shock towers, because this thing is going to see some abuse that a standard Colorado won't see. Your only factory tire and wheel choice on this truck is a 31-inch Goodyear WRANGLER DURATRAC tire on a unique 17 by 8-inch aluminum rim. Now, you might want a bigger tire if you're really a serious off-roader, but you can't get it from the factory. That's going to have to be an aftermarket thing. As I expected, the diesel is really nice for the sort of low speed stuff. All that torque is really nice. You know, the fact that it's a bit of a slower throttle response, there's a bit of turbo lag, it doesn't really come into play when you're just creeping up a hill really slow. So if you're wondering how to distinguish a traditional Colorado from the ZR2, there are a few things that are different. Up front, there are some really noticeable changes. You have a different front bumper that has cutaways, a really prominent skid plate that sort of curves up into the lower bumper, and a couple of tow hooks that stick out a bit. The hood is different. There's a really unique looking, purposeful, aggressive power bulge. The diesels get a little Duramax logo on the power bulge. The gas trucks, it's just the power bulge. There's nothing, no markings on it. The only marking difference is out back. Next to the Colorado script on the tailgate, there's a little V6 logo. Moving around to the sides, the metal part of the fender flares is the same for both the regular Colorado and the ZR2. The plastic outer flares are different. They're a little bigger. The ZR2's standard rock sliders, they're pretty serious units. They're bolted on to some reinforcement plates on the rockers. They're there to sort of protect the rocker panels and the lower doors from a situation in which you're angled over and cutting a turn and there's a rock there. You know, you can slide along the rock sliders, mess them up and just replace them instead of getting into the bodywork and denting that up. It's a great idea. Chevy's real smart to offer them standard. So inside the ZR2, there's not really a lot of indication that you're in a ZR2. I mean, there are headrests that are embossed with the ZR2 logo, but you know, it's not like a special Alcantara wrapped wheel or anything else really different about the interior. We've switched back from the diesel-powered truck doing off-road stuff, and we're in the gasoline V6-powered truck doing on-road stuff right now. The gas ZR2 has a 3.6-liter engine. It's a V6. It makes 308 horsepower and 275 foot-pounds of torque. So significantly more horsepower, but also significantly less torque than the diesel version. pretty much exactly what you would expect. The transmission seems to be working a little harder to give you the oomph that the diesel has, and that's just a torque disparity. And also, I'm assuming, because these transmissions, for fuel economy reasons, are desperately trying to upshift as much as they can. While on the high-speed off-road course, I noticed a real difference between the steering response of the V6 and the diesel in the soft stuff. On the road, there doesn't seem to be that much of a difference so far, going through a few turns, just in terms of the way the steering feels. Surprisingly decent handling on road, feels sprung rather stiffly, corners pretty flat. Really, on the road, it's a lot like a conventional non-ZR2 Colorado. With both trucks I've been in today, I've noticed the brakes seem real meaty and easy to modulate. It's a nice firm pedal pressure, it's progressive. This gasoline-powered ZR2 weighs 4734. The diesel quad cab weighed 4985. So there's a weight penalty for choosing the diesel, but that's to be expected. So which ZR2 is for you? That depends on what you want to use it for. If you want to do slow stuff, technical stuff, you like the idea of having a lot of range, for sure get the diesel. It's wonderful, it's nice to drive. The only place it really lags behind is maybe like in a sand dune or a high-speed situation. In that case, you're probably better off with the V6. Really, you can't go wrong. They both have the same sort of capabilities and mostly all the same strengths. There's really no wrong answer, but there may be a more right answer for you. For Autoblog, I'm Alex Kierstein.